Hello guys, I hope you're doing well. We're going to be doing a video lecture on technology. I know that a lot of you guys know what a hard drive is, and you know what a mouse is, and you know these things, but it's part of the syllabus. It's part of the chapters that must be taught in this Ken's manual, so we're going to do it. So here we go. Just going to share my screen for you guys. So this is going to be technology and written communication. Now, for the 13th edition, these chapters are together, but for the 14th edition, you have chapter 8 and 9, and so I'm just doing a combination video. Electronic technology in the medical office can be medical software, and we get that at reduced prices. It saves us time, and it's important that we understand its capabilities. Personal computer hardware. Personal computer, relatively inexpensive piece of hardware that is used by a single person. System hardware, electronic processing device that accepts, stores, and processes data. So this is a touch screen panel. You've seen some doctors' offices when you go in for your visits that they use these. So let's talk about what are input devices. Keyboards, mouse, and other pointing devices, touch screens, webcams, microphones, scanners, and signature pads. Output devices are monitors, printers, and speakers. Internal components, there we go. The central processing unit is the brains of the computer. Random access memory, or RAM, is the working memory of the computer. Hard disk drive, HDD, reads and writes on the hard disk. Solid state drive is more expensive than an HDD. It is not affected by magnetism. Excuse me. Most desktops and laptops have a number of USB ports. Secondary storage devices permanently store data until they are replaced or deleted by the user. Types are magnetic, which is internal hard drive, portable hard drive also. Optical, Blu-ray discs, compact discs, and DVDs. Flash, which is jump drive, USB drive, or a memory stick. I would be lost without mine. Network and internet access devices. All computers and output devices in a healthcare facility are usually connected to the clinic's network. Router may be used to allow multiple devices on the same network. Medical office must subscribe with an internet services provider and be connected to a modem. Maintaining computer hardware. Sorry guys, I have a little frog in my throat. The MA must maintain the computer hardware. All computer and peripheral devices should be located on a stable, even surface away from heat sources. Liquids and food should be kept away from devices. To remove dirt from the keyboard, turn the keyboard upside down and gently shake, or use compressed air dusters. Computer workstation ergonomics. It's important to arrange the workstation correctly. Torso and neck should be vertical in line. For standing workstations, your legs, torso, head, and neck should be vertical and in line. Important to change positions every 30 minutes, and preventing repetitive stress injuries is important for all computer users. I will be putting a separate little lecture on ergonomics on probably tomorrow's homework. Computer workstation ergonomics. So this is what they say you should do. This is how your body will feel the best, and you will not have as much pain in your back or your hiney or whatever, your elbows, your wrists. But a lot of times if you have a job and you're at the desk a lot, they're going to be providing you with some of these things. I loved having a footrest because I'm short, and it just helped me feel more comfortable. Software used in the medical office. Set of electronic instruments to operate and perform different tasks. Two main categories are software and application software. Electronic medical record, which is your EMR, and your EHR are often used interchangeably. When patients' records become electronic or computerized, they were called electronic medical records. EHR allows sharing of information with other providers outside the facility. So look at the difference between EMR and EHR. Computer network security. Electronic security is becoming more important in today's society. Most clinics also need to comply with meaningful use requirements. Administrators and employees must work together to keep the computer network safe. Computer network security, here's another slide on that. Administrators have additional security responsibilities. Encryption software is used to encode or change the information into non-readable or encrypted data. Healthcare agencies' IT departments manage audit trails. IT departments also perform security risk analysis and perform backup procedures. Technology advances in healthcare. Sign-in sheets are being replaced with sign-in kiosks. Clinics are using wristbands with barcodes. Medical labs, ambulatory surgery centers, and walk-in clinics are using patient tracking systems, and some clinics use wireless mobile workstations. Point-of-care tools and apps are available for providers to use in the exam rooms with patients, and e-prescribing allows providers to send prescriptions electronically. So now we're getting into some written communication. So it's important to know basic grammar, your parts of speech, and the way you should use nouns, verbs, subjects, things like that, adverbs, adjectives within a sentence. So I've not seen any of you that have any grammatical issues, but I just want you to be aware that when you're sending written communication in a professional capacity, you need to always double and triple check it. So commonly confused words. Here are some words. As used in comparison, has to possesses, own, or experience. For example, she is as fast as he is on the keyboard. The medical assistant has increased his keyboarding speed by using the computer every day. So do you see how the second sentence is so much more comfortable? So much more professional. I was reading the next one with my, for some reason my eye went down to lie down to sleep and I just automatically said comfortable. No, the second scenario that I just read is much more professional. So here's some more homonyms, meanings of homonyms, and I am just going to let you guys read through those. I am not going to read through those one by one in this lecture. Capitalization, numbers, and punctuation. The first letter of the first word in a sentence or a question should be capitalized. Pronoun I should be capitalized. First letter of proper nouns should be capitalized. Spell out all numbers at the beginning of a sentence. Okay, so again, that's basic grammar, but we're talking about written communication, and it's great to brush up on your grammatical skills simply because when you're writing professional communication, you need to make sure you know those rules. Commas are used in written punctuation. Semicolons are used before certain words. And when separating two complete sentences in a series, a colon is used to introduce a series of items. So again, these are just common grammatical errors that you could make. Brush up on those skills. Parts of a professional letter: sender's address, date, inside address, and your reference line. So U.S. Postal Service standard street suffix abbreviations. So that's what, when you're addressing a letter, it's good to have these things. Again, we don't have very many alleys or bridges or bypass or some of these. We have streets, drives, trails, things like that. But again, just double check how you are actually addressing anything you're addressing. Make sure that it's professional and accurate. Parts of a professional letter: the salutation, the subject line, body of the letter, closing, signature block, end notation, and continuation pages. So here is parts of a professional letter if you were actually looking at one. So the sender's address is in the header of the document. Then you're going to have your date. Then the inside address, your salutation, the body of the letter, your closing, your signature block, reference notation, and copy notation. So if you're sending another letter, a copy of this letter to someone, you would just put CC John Smith. So let's talk about business letter formats. So a full block format: left justified all elements. Professional business letters are use closed punctuation, and formal letters can use open punctuation. Modified block format: left justified, sender's address if not using letterhead, and inside address. Center point or right justified, date, closing, and signature block start. And I'll let you read the semi-block format. So here's an example of a full block letter format. See, it's all left justified. A modified block letter format: the date is right justified, your sincerely, and the signature is right justified, then everything else is left. The semi-block format, and you can see the differences there too. I'm going to be honest with you, almost everything I see is full block letter format. This is the most common and most likely what you will be using. So letter templates. Using one of the business letter formats, the medical assistant can design a letter template. Use the practice management software to merge patient data into the letter template to create an individualized letter. Okay, preparing the letter for delivery. Business letters should be enclosed in business-sized envelope to ensure timely delivery. Preparing letter for delivery. Of course, you guys know how to do this. I know that this sounds like, okay, Miss Marcia, why are you doing this? Well, maybe you all know how to do it, but some people do not. In this world of technology where everybody's so used to doing everything online, they don't have a lot of experience with doing paper letters and actually sending out in regular postage. So we need to keep in mind that, yeah, we may know this, but maybe some people may not. So your return address goes in the left, and who you want to send it to goes to the bottom right. I always put mine kind of in the middle, but in this it's saying to the bottom right. Memorandums. Use portrait orientation for the document and 1-inch margins. Typically, they have 4 headings: to, from, date, and subject. So that's if you're going to send a memo. So to, from, date, and the subject, and then it's going to give you what it's about. The office will be closed at noon on December 24th for Christmas Eve. So that's what a memo, an inter-office memo would look like. And we would probably just send an email, but again, you would put who it's to and then what it's about. Professional emails. Medical assistants need to know how to compose a professional email. Separate email address with semicolons. Start with a greeting. Refrain from using all caps. Always end with thank you or sincerely. Zip large attachments and use the urgent feature only for crucial emails. Closing comments. Medical assistants should proofread all documents carefully before printing and sending. Medical assistants should keep a copy of all documentation produced using word processing, and all patient-related documents are confidential. So I'm going to stop our share because I want to tell you about a couple of things. So I do realize that you probably knew most of those things, but it's important that we brush up on the grammar and maybe be reminded of what professional letters look like versus just sending an email to a friend and those kinds of things. I want to talk about two different things. I want to talk about encryption. I'm just going to talk about when I worked in a medical billing and coding office, we had a certain word that we put in the subject line and it automatically encrypted when it's sent. So whatever facility that you go to, if they send encrypted documentation, they will tell you what their encryption word is. Ours was just encrypted, but I don't know that everybody uses that encrypted. Okay, I want to talk about that. But then also I want to talk about, let's say that you have to write a letter to a patient for Dr. Walden, because they always use Walden Clinic in our curriculum. Let me tell you something that I think you should always do. So I write my letter. So I have my letter in my hands. I mail it. It's urgent, important that these people get this letter. And 2 weeks later, the doctor comes to me and he said, Dr. So-and-so just came to me and you never sent that letter. He never received the letter. That's an issue, right? Because you're like, I know I sent it, but what proof do you have to show Dr. Walden that you sent it? This is what I think this is what you should do. This is what I did where I worked. I don't know what the rules are going to be for you, but I think that even if they don't have this rule, you should do it. It's called a correspondence folder. And you would simply take a folder, and I'm looking around. Here's my folder. I'm just going to grab a folder. And so this is my email folders. I keep emails for different things, but that's what I have it labeled. So I'm going to write my correspondence letter. I'm going to print it. Instead of just printing one copy, I'm going to print two. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mail out one copy, and then I'm going to put my other copy in my correspondence folder. And I used to do a monthly correspondence folder. And so that would have a correspondence folder for 12 of 2019. So every piece of correspondence, if I, whatever it is, if I did a denial, if I had a question about something and it was documentation and I had to correct it, I would make a copy for myself and I would keep a correspondence folder. Because when Dr. Walden comes and says, you didn't do this, or you didn't do that, you didn't send that letter, you can pull it out and say, oh yes, Dr. Walden, I sent that letter. I have a copy of it here. I sent it at 2:30 on the 22nd of December. So you have a copy that you sent it, you know you sent it. So having a correspondence folder, if you don't have a filing cabinet, you have a drawer, you have space somewhere for your stuff. Make you a correspondence folder for every single month. Then when the year, I usually kept mine for 2 years. So when it came back around, if I needed something, I could always refer to my correspondence folder. Even if you don't know exactly what month that you sent that specific letter, or if you have something special you're sending to a patient, say that you needed to fire a patient, that you're having to fire a patient because he refuses to follow the doctor's orders, and Dr. Walden has given you permission to send a termination letter. So you would send the termination letter, you would write it out. You're going to have a template for it on your EHR most of the time. You fill out the information, you print it out, print out 2 copies. Then you would just go into that patient's account on the EHR and make a note and say, sent a termination letter on 8/22/2019 and a copy of termination letter in correspondence folder 8 of 2019. And so you always have that paper copy to refer back to. I'm just pulling some things out. I use a lot of correspondence, but if again telling you everything that I put in my correspondence folder, it may seem foreign. To me, you need that backup. You need the proof that you've done it. You need to be able to refer back sometimes. My memory's not that great, so I need it for memory purposes. And so I always had a correspondence folder for every single month. So I'm trying to think of anything else I want to tell you. I thought there was something else, but it slipped my mind. So I am going to be adding a lecture video on ergonomics. It's not long. If you guys need anything, let me know. Have a great afternoon and see you soon.